But again, as we always say, you know, anyone who's, you know, using any kind of derogatory or discriminatory terms, you're going to be blocked and deleted. We're not having any of that. We're cool with everybody, and we have fans from all around the world, and this is about broadcasting. So I've said a lot. I want to hear what Paul has to say, because he's going to have a different perspective on this and some other stuff to say.
Well, first let me say that we, as you mentioned, we respect the organizations.
Absolutely.
We respect all the fighters.
Oh, yeah.
I think that some of the people that watch these videos or have commented on these on places like Sherdog and places like that, I don't think they understand the discussions that we have with the people that are interviewed about what we're going to talk about, and just kind of running through things. These things, the preparation that goes into it. And so what you see on the video didn't just come out of nowhere. I mean, it's not like this is like out of the blue for the people that are being interviewed.
Let me say something about that. Let me say something about that real quick. What I try to do before a lot of these interviews is, this is actually really, I'm glad you put that, a very important point. I try to tell them, listen, have you seen my videos before? Yes or no. If the answer is no, this is exactly what I do, and this is what I'm trying to do. You know, and basically what I tell everyone, whether it's in politics, whether it's the same way. I'm real. I'm going to tell you exactly what I think, but I'm going to do it in an entertaining way. The whole point is we're out there to try to get you noticed, and we're going to try to make you look good, but also, you know, give people something that's real. And that's it. And that's the other thing I will say. It's really important. Be like, you should, reporters are like this. If you want a boring type of thing, go watch someone else. The point is you have to ask yourself, if you or me, if you're sitting here, you know, or as a consumer, how do a lot of these, we do a lot of politics, right? A lot of these politicians are straight off script. They have talking points, this and that, whatever. Well, anyone that deals with the media a lot kind of gets more towards that way. And maybe some of the MMA fighters do as well. And the relevant question becomes, how do you make what is going to be for a lot of fans or news consumers, whatever, the same answer, the same answer, the same question that they've seen 100 times over now, sound different, or be entertaining, or be exciting, or how, even better, can you get something new? Can you make some news? But I always tell these people, I'm not here to I don't do gotcha questions. I'm not trying to set you up, and I'm not trying to throw you nothing but softballs. And if you really understand how to look at these things, and I'm not going to name the names, whatever I mean, but if you look at some of these interviews, you'll think it went down one way, or someone's not saying anything, or they're not saying, but really, or that I'm trying to put words in their mouth. But if you understand how to look at that, if you know what you're seeing, you will see them, in my personal opinion, I'm going to couch this a certain way, saying, I believe, more than what you think they're saying. Okay? And that's what I'm saying. I'm giving, a lot of times, you know, if it's in politics or something, I'll use politics. I'm able to say what they can't say. And some of these people, you know, politicians may agree or disagree with me, but it seems, you know, a lot of people, if you're not trained, you can't see that. If you are trained, if you understand what you're seeing, you can see that. And that's what I'm saying. Things will happen on different levels. And that's when people react in a certain way or they say certain things, that shows me you're a mark and you don't get it. So, like Paul says, I've already told most of these people exactly who I am, what I do, what we're trying to do, and the whole point of it. And, you know, if you sit there and you see the same answer over and over again, and there's nothing new or entertaining about it, you don't want to watch. And that means you're not going to buy, you're not going to get, you know, you may not be as excited to buy the pay-per-view, you may not be as excited to do this X, Y, or Z, and that's the point. We're trying to create an event, an excitement. We're part of that ecosystem. Paul, go ahead.
Okay, and it's something good that you mentioned earlier, and go back to it, which is, yeah, you're talking about the numbers. and what we do with certain videos and how many numbers we do and how many we do with other videos. Again, we respect all the fighters and the organizations and the gym owners and everybody. We're not sitting here trying to say, oh, you know, we don't need them or anything. It's not about that.
No.
We're working with them because we want to, and they're working with us because they want to. And so it's a mutually beneficial arrangement. And you mentioned also about and we're just saying, we're thankful for that.
Very thankful.
We respect these guys.
Yeah.
We're grateful that we're allowed to work with them.
Right.
We're not sitting here saying we're above it. Like you said, we're not above anybody or anything like that. That's just more.
They're fighting. I'm not. They put the money down to open up a gym and make that investment. I didn't. You know what I mean? Like Paul's saying, I mean, we're doing everything we can to support them, to help get them commerce and money and customers and excitement and all that type of stuff. Conversely, if it can work out where we have some good access to them, or maybe someone wants to sponsor us or something like that, and then we can build something where we actually have a good MMA fan base and our videos, you know, get seen and put out there, then maybe, or they, you know, like I said, sponsor us, then maybe it can work out for us too. But we respect them and we're trying to help them out. That's all we're trying to do. Go ahead, Paul.
Yeah, I think that, again, that's just, you know, to clarify what you were saying there. It's just more of kind of a straight up analysis based upon the views we get on certain videos versus other videos.
Right.
So it's not we're certainly not dissing anybody or trying to put ourselves above MMA at all. I mean, that's not the case whatsoever. It's just more for the people that you know, maybe younger diehard MMA fans that don't understand YouTube or business or MMA business.
We're fans too. We're fans too. We're fans too.
Right. We're fans as well. We're big fans, and there's no doubt about that. Yeah, I'm just clarifying, you know, what you had said earlier about that. I mean, we're not. Yeah, okay. But the bottom line is, we're doing it because we want to do it, and that's it.
Right. That's it.
I just say that. You mentioned the thing about the whole discussion about, you know, people have said stuff, oh, you're not objective. And it's not, being objective
it's not about being
the same as not having an opinion. In other words, you mentioned, you know, Jim Rome, other people like this. Well, Jim Rome will sometimes come on and say, such and so quit, or such and so choked.
Right.
Now, is he objective? Yeah, he's objective. He's just being objective about what he sees.
Right.
So in other words, you can be objective and still have an opinion. Being objective does not mean that you don't observe things. Being objective is not, being objective is not the same as being neutral. And I can sit there and say, you know what, this fighter, I think, has this weakness. That's, you can be objective. It's what you see. It's what you observe. So I think some of the fans might not understand that. I mean, the reporting might not just say, oh, it's biased or whatever. Not being biased to point out certain observations. Now, getting back to, the interview style, and people say, oh, you're so excited, and this type of thing. Look, people a lot of times will criticize announcers like Gus Johnson or
Marv Albert,
or Ronaldo, or even Dana,
or Dick Vitale.
What?
Or Dick Vitale.
Dick Vitale, and
or Boomer, rumbling, stumbling. I mean, he changed the whole face of sportscasting.
Chris Boomer Berman, and they'll say, well, shouldn't be doing this stuff. Why does Dana White do X, Y, and Z and say X, Y, and Z? Because he's generating interest. Part of it is, he's saying what he wants to say, and he's saying what he feels, but
be smart, don't be a moron.
The idea is to stimulate excitement, the way that John talked about before. If you have people, you have the greatest MMA fighter that ever lived, and if there's anything interesting about them or compelling, then they might not be able to sell tickets. They might not be able to sell pay-per-views. And that's not going to work. I mean, I'll give you a great example of boxing. For a long time, Floyd Mayweather had that problem. Now he's become a big draw. But for a while, people didn't like watching his fights because they were technically good, but nobody got knocked out, and they, you know, maybe he kind of used a lot of movement instead of a lot of brawling. Well, how do you solve that? One of the ways that they solved it was by having these 24/7 things on HBO.
And let him run his mouth.
What? No, and Mayweather's playing a villain. Or
That's
his
it.
dad is, or his uncle is.
Right.
That's part of what happens in these interviews is it's kind of infusing some excitement and putting a different style than, you know, some of the other MMA interviewers out there that people know. I would just say one other thing quickly.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there are people who have taken shots at us and our style, and I'm not going to mention any names here, but there are examples where it's like, you know, people have done things where they've crossed these organizations, and we've never done that.
Heck no.
And we don't want to do that.
Heck
We're
no.
not trying to do that. So, I mean, there's people that taking shots at us. Well, what about these guys? And they're not this, and they're, you know, I don't like this style. But it's like, you know, I mean, again, we're working with these groups and these individuals and these, you know, the gym proprietors and stuff to help them get over.
Right.
We're not doing things, even if you don't like the way we're doing it, you don't think we're doing it well, you know, it's kind of, we're not doing anything against their interest, I guess is the best way to say it.
Right, exactly. And as proof of that, if you look at everyone, all the negative comments are towards me, not the fighters. But they're excited to watch this interview for whatever reason, to make fun of me, this and that, whatever. And now we've started all this dialogue about these fights that are coming up, which should generate additional pay-per-view. I don't care, be mad at me. That's fine. We're still accomplishing like these people, and it just shows me, in my personal opinion, that you don't know what's really up, which is to say, you know, oh, you just hate GSP, you hate GSP. I don't hate GSP. I think GSP is a great champion. If you think I hate GSP, then you really don't know what's going on, and you're really a mark. But that just shows me how good that I am, because I've actually here in these interviews pulled back the curtain a little bit to see the performer and stuff like that. Now, does that mean that I, you know, lied? No, I've said exactly what I think, which is, and I'll be very clear. I think GSP is a great champion. I think GSP is phenomenal at 170. I'm not sure that, I personally question whether GSP wants to fight Anderson Silva. I think that he understands that it may not be in my personal opinion, he may think that it might not be a good business decision for him to do so. And in my personal opinion, I think that he may not, he might be worried that maybe he wouldn't win that fight. And I also think that that his style of fights is a more safe style. But as I've said a bunch of times, if I were champion, I'd do that too. That's smart. He's not in there to blow himself up on any one fight or have the best fight ever, whatever like that. He's in there to maximize his earnings as a fighter and maximize his safety as a fighter so that he actually can have a good, healthy life after he's done fighting. That's his job. I've never criticized him for doing that. I think that he trains extremely hard. I think he understands about media. He understands about marketability. And I guarantee you, if GSP ever watched any of my videos, he knows exactly what I'm doing. And think about this. If I sat here, whether, you know, GSP fans or the GSP fanboys, if I sat here and said, you know, GSP's the best ever and nobody can beat him. You know, this Shield, forget it. He's a joke. He'll never beat him. Who's going to buy that pay-per-view? You think Dana White doesn't understand that? Why are they building Shields up right now?